So, we destroy this dude. We bounce those dudes. They really like getting bounced, so... And we definitely mill. Give me my Hullbreaker. Now I want Spell Pierce from the top, please. That's not an instant. I'll tell you that. Hello everyone, it's Sloth here, and today the deck that you probably were waiting for but you didn't even know about it, because we are using finally some new cards that were never used. Founding of the Third Path, but especially Cemetery Tampering, 3 mana enchantment that probably nobody have seen so far in Mythic. And we are making this cool pile, and this is definitely a different deck that you probably ever seen, because it's Dimir, but it's not, like, it's a control, but it's not really a control. It's more of a Reanimator deck that you want to use your completely balanced Hullbreaker Horror that everyone loves and like, and just completely dominate the gameplay with your like small spare pierces and pilfers and Hullbreaker Horror that bounces everything. So this deck is really unique. We'll talk about the results at the end as always, and I think like it's really cool deck. Like, it's actually really fun. It's super hard to play. It might not seem like it, like you just do the strategy, right? But honestly, this deck, I messed so many games with this. Like, you need to know what you are doing, you need to know exactly when you mill, what you mill. You actually need to stack triggers as well. So for example, okay, we will talk about the tricks later in the intro. Yeah, everything will be later. But I think we should read the cards first, then we can talk about the interactions, because it might be confusing otherwise. So let's get to it. So Founding of the Third Path, basically the key element of the deck. This is one of the key cards for the whole deck, and I know, random person in the comments, you wanted to use this card, and if you want to use it, this is exactly the type of deck that this card fits in. This is exactly how you want to use this card, and it's actually a perfect card for this deck, so it's really beneficial. You don't play it because you like it, you play it because it's good in this deck. So 2 mana enchantment, you can read ahead, of course you know how it works, you can choose the chapter. First chapter, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 1 or 2 without paying the mana cost, and you can also only cast spells from your hand. So you usually pay 2 mana for this, and you can basically cast a 2 mana instant from your hand. So you don't really get too much, and you spend 2 cards. So where's the payout? Chapter 2. Target player mills 4 cards. Hardly worth it, but it helps in this particular deck. Chapter 3. This is your payout. This is why the card is played. Exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. Any. No matter the cost. Copy it. You may cast the copy, and this is actually a play ability, like you cast the spell. It means that when you copy the march, and this has been tested in the video, if you don't believe, watch the video, you can add X cards, and this is huge because, like, you know, exiling march and playing it in some situations is enough to win the game. But the biggest effect is copying Graveyard Shift, card you probably know by now. So 5 mana reanimation spell, and as long as you have 5 different mana cost in the graveyard, this has flash, which is really important. And yeah, this is the big pile, because you generally, our deck is meant for filling the graveyard. Like, we have so many effects that just cycle, that just mills cards directly from library, and we have a big selection. We have counter spells that you probably won't play, because this is like a saga counter at the upkeep. But all the removal, all the card draw, everything, like Pilfer even, you can interrupt our opponent very well with this, and you choose which effect. But the main plan is getting the Graveyard Shift when you have 5 mana. And remember, if that's a turn 5, you won't be able to cast Graveyard Shift from this, because you cannot play land at the trigger time. So you will have still 4 mana, and you cannot play land in response to this effect. So something to keep in mind, definitely. And we also get to benefit from new card Tolarian Terror, 7 mana serpent that has Ward 2 and basically is cheaper for each one instant sorcery in your graveyard. And you might guess, yes, our graveyard is usually huge with this deck, and this nearly always is played for 1 mana. Unless it's emergency, but it's so easy to discount it to 1 mana, and believe me, 1 mana 5/5 with ward is really good. Not only for the stats, but even the word. Your opponent needs to spend full turn answering your 1 mana play. It means that the rest mana you had for the turn is actually putting you ahead in tempo. And that's something huge. Like, you know, on the strategy level, this is always a win, even if they answer it. So, the big card, the card you never seen. 3 mana, Cemetery Tampering. This is the part of the hideaway cycle, so we basically take 5 cards from top of your library. One of them is stashed, like in a hideaway, right? Gangster style. And then you may cast it at the given condition. And the condition here is, at the beginning of your upkeep, first you may mill 3 cards. So this is optional, very important. Then if there are 20 or more cards in your graveyard, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. So you basically want to mill your own graveyard and library as much as possible, and then you get this card for free. Guess which card we want? Yay, Hullbreaker Horror. Everyone's favorite. On the emergency note, you also accept Tolarian Terror, and graveyard shift usual when you have 20 cards in the graveyard and you have 3. Oh my god, my breath is taken away. You have 3 Hullbreaker Horrors. It means that most likely at this stage of the game you will have one of them in the graveyard, so you can just reanimate them. So if you hit the graveyard shift, it's completely fine to take it and you will reanimate the Hullbreaker Horror. You don't need to pay the mana cost for the card, so that's completely fine. Alright, that's how it works. That's the deck, that's the idea, and the interactions. So for example, this one has flash. I'm nearly, like, I'm 99% sure, because I've done it during the game, and I think I didn't miss anything. But you can just check me in case and watch the game. But you normally need 5 out of 5 to cast it with flash. However, when you cast it from your graveyard with Founding of the Third Path, so the third chapter, first you exile target instant or sorcery spell, but it seems to still be able to cast, because, so it comes from this, you may cast the copy. So even if it's like a sorcerer, you can still cast it from your graveyard, even if you don't activate this, flash effect. That's something I originally missed, and I was a bit confused during the video on this one. But yeah, you cast all the sorcery spells even with this one, right? So you don't need flash for it. That's something to remember because it's a bit messy. And at the same time, remember that Founding exiles one of the cards. So it means, for example, if you want to cast Tainted Indulgence this turn, you don't really want to exile something that you don't have duplicate mana cost in your graveyard. So this might affect your decisions. This is something you need to keep in mind. For the stuff in the deck, we have Spell Pierce, because sometimes it's the answer to invoke the spell, or like some hard removal for Hullbreaker, and even if you don't use it early game, just keep it. It will come very handy with Hullbreaker because it's 1 mana instant, and at some point you want to win the game with the Hullbreaker. Whatever happens, this is your plan, or in the worst case, Tolarian Terror. And Spell Pierce is amazing with Tolarian Terror, because the word 2 means that he already needs to pay 2. So if he casts Infernal Grasp, he needs 4 mana to do it. If he has something like 5 mana, you can just Spell Pierce, and he cannot remove it below 6 mana. That's really insane, and you will nearly always hit something with Spell Pierce in this deck. Alright. And don't forget, this is read ahead, so you sometimes just go directly for chapter 3, but you have less mana. You need to remember, for the chapter 3 you pay the cost, mana wise, but you aren't like conditioned for 1 or 2 mana spell. For the chapter 1 you pay it for free, but at the same time you don't have selection and you cannot really choose too much. So that's a bit confusing after I've played the card, but you need to get used to it. And Underdog, you might be surprised, man, this is strong deck. It's not mono black that we all really like and enjoy on the ladder. The reason is that this is a card that can be played from your graveyard. Sometimes with this card, this is not a control deck. Like, you have elements of control, but it's basically like a bit of a tempo reanimator, something like this. You just want to, play your things quickly before you die. That's why you don't have sweepers, because Hullbreaker Horror is your sweeper. You hope that you play it fast enough that you can basically bounce all the cards from your opponent. So for this reason, Tenacious Underdog is a really good refiller, because at some games you won't have anything in hand. You don't have really cardo in this deck. This is before chapter 3 is actually card negative. Tainted Indulgence usually is used to just cycle cards, not really get the value. You will activate it, for sure, but very often the main part when the game is hard is this being just a cycle spell. So for this reason Underdog is here. And also when you have horror, I have found that very often you have situation when you don't have anything to play with Hullbreaker Horror. You are not a control deck. So for this reason having Tenacious Underdog can be game winning, because you cast it from your graveyard. It's a spell. It means that you can bounce this 5/5 or 4/5 shoulder from your opponent, and suddenly board is empty. Your opponent needs to replay it during his turn, and the path to victory is clear. So sometimes this one Underdog will win you the game just from the graveyard. It's not to smork your opponent, it's to play spells and to draw cards when you don't have them. With this deck you need always some instant and sorcery, because they just amplify the rest of your deck. Tainted Indulgence, draw you more cards. Then you get the bounce spells from Hullbreaker Horror, then you can play more spells, and the cycle is going. When you have 5 islands and no spells and just one Underdog, it feels sad, so you need to refill your hand. That's why the card is here, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's a very big part of the deck. So with that being said, Sloth, how good deck is? Well, I don't really think it's competitive too much. I didn't test it enough to be sure. We are on 40% win rate in Mythic. Stats weren't horrible, and I think definitely deck has a lot of synergies, and it's pretty strong. You will get auto wins with some draws, you will get some nut games when you just play card after card, and this perfect synergy that your opponent has no way to win the game, because Hullbreaker Horror can go very quickly in this deck if you have perfect draw. However, it feels a little junky, and a lot of things need to go right for this deck to be very, very strong. I think it's definitely stronger against some slower deck, because then you have more time. And definitely one of the big things, this is not the deck that you can perfectly protect your Hullbreaker. With this one, you sometimes have not much instant spells in the hand after you do all the mumbo jumbo, and I have noticed that Hullbreaker Horror can die in this deck, so you are definitely much better against decks that cannot directly remove it. You have enchantments, things like this. Even though they are very hard early game, after you play Hullbreaker, they usually cannot really answer it unless they have one of their 4 cards in the deck that removes something. So I think it's a very situational deck. Against aggro, I don't have very good record against aggro with this one. It feels that you need a really great draw and everything needs to go your way to get Hullbreaker before they kill you, especially if they have gut draw. I'm not sure if there's much you can do. Of course you can get perfect hand, March, Spell Pierce whenever they play their Kumano. You can go first, you can get Infernal Grasp into healing and then get perfect Graveyard Shift with Flash at the end step when they attack with Riser. You can win, but I just don't think it's enough consistent to give great results. So I would consider it more of a fun deck. This is definitely one of the most cool Dimir builds in New Standard I have tried. So definitely try it if you want to try something new. It's definitely fresh, it is fun, it's hard to play, and wins feel really satisfying with this one. It's a cool deck. But I wouldn't go with this one if you want to grind the rank at the fastest pace possible in Diamond, because I think you might have a rough time. That's my opinion. But I didn't play enough games. If you want to really test it, just play 50, 100 games and then you will know for sure, but who has time for this, right? So, with that being said, enjoy the deck, don't forget to subscribe. If you want such cool, unique decks, definitely watch this channel, because we will do it from time to time. And I think that's it. Thank you for watching the intro. I really appreciate that you care, and enjoy the games. Alright, we seem to go first. That's a new one. We just need the Ferdinand, and I hope then everything will be fine. But we definitely need the Ferdinand. So far we don't get mana screwed at all. So we might. I thought that we are safe, but after drawing the third Cemetery Tampering, definitely I feel a bit different. We have some time with the Infernal Grasp. Worst case, we can go for Huge March. Sure. Oh, punished. Oh man, I should have more believed in my deck. I will gladly take the Hullbreaker. It seems like a decent card to get for free. Oh man, I messed. I should have used the Infernal. I'm too greedy. Honestly, I did it because I hoped he will cast something that will count on Kami, but we will get so punished. Oh my god. Okay. Lesson learned. I will probably exile something and use Mars to kill Naturalist and then kill the Kami. Of course, in different turns, so he doesn't get it back. Take action. We definitely need a lot of milling in this game. And we have shown our strategy. Concealing Curtains. Very interesting card in this position. Okay, so we do it like this. And yes, this is correct choice. Concealing Curtain is something that will mitigate the damage for the rest of the game. Like 1-2 damage a turn, that accumulates to a lot of like extra HP. I don't think he runs protection spells. So I think it's better. Maybe he casts something on the Kami. You know, there are different versions. Oh, you want the counter. And even if it doesn't play like if opponent doesn't play anything on this, he definitely hopes that this will hit for a lot, so he plays a bit differently then. Like, I'm not sure if he would play Haunting if he knew that the turn is basically dead. Alright, so let's go for another Tampering. Seems pretty fine. It accelerates the graveyard thing we are going for. This will give value turn after. This will get value instantly. Yeah, I think this one is good enough, because we can cast something at instant speed. So now the question, do we go for HP or Hullbreaker Fuel? I hope with Infernal Grasp it will be enough. Like, we also have Underdogs, we can cast them from the graveyard just to get, you know, some spells going, so we can start bouncing at least one thing a turn. And that should be enough generally. I think our HP is the bigger problem. Like with double Tampering, our value should be very high, but this is extremely explosive deck, which you will see in a second. No Lance, you love to see it. Oh man, he will not get a single value out of this Paragon. You love to see it. I'm never so happy unless I'm denying value from my opponents. Alright, land. You kinda hate to see it. Next turn we are getting Hullbreaker, but we definitely need to remove the thingy. Thingy is super scary. I cannot allow it to live. And this hurts. This hurts me so much, but we can activate the Concealing Curtains. You know what? We will do it anyway. Please, enjoy your card. Is it nice? Oh, you can activate its sorcery speed. Yeah, I never wanted to discard. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And for anyone learning from this channel, you definitely should do it main phase. I'm just a dummy. That was really bad play. The difference, like, we won't have too much time activating it later, so that's actually a mistake that will linger throughout this match, so that's really big deal that I didn't do it. On the bright side, it still has 4 toughness, so all you get is basically like toughness in the discard. So, you know, and most of his decks are enchantments, so hopefully it doesn't hurt extremely much, but it's definitely a very bad call. For example, he wouldn't be able to attack for this too, and he also doesn't know that we cannot do it in an instant. He would just attack if he knew. Alright. Oh, and I just realized, this was pure luck. I messed it up. You need to stack the triggers, so the second one that triggers is with the Hullbreaker. Fortunately, that was the case, but it wasn't intentional, I just got lucky. Which I tend to do when I do a lot of mistakes, so we'll have to see it. Alright, so what is the play? Definitely Tainted Indulgence, because it keeps us going with the Hullbreaker Horror. Tokens are annoying, but Haunting is even more annoying. And it's very intensive on the mana. We discard this one, even though, like, yeah, we have to do it. We get Underdog if we don't do it, but it's still better to Pilfer. We need to work on this board because we're, like, right now we are very behind. So we need to make sure that we get slowly a lot of value. Okay, no enchantments, you really love to see it, but he will get the stage 2 for a Ganjo. But right now Hollowed Hunting is not a problem, and that's basically one of his infinite value engines. Man, if we beat such a meta deck with this cool pile, I'm proud of it. We need to make it work. We need to make it work. He has enchantments that exile stuff, so yeah, but he needs to draw into them, and he will have mana. He needs 1 white, and oh, he even has 2. Okay, Companion is not the worst. It's definitely not... I would prefer him to draw land, you know, but at least he cannot remove the Hullbreaker, so we untap with it. We can also use the Curtains now. Kami. Man, look at this white stuff board. Alright, so you can see which one triggers when, but we have over 20 cards, so both will trigger anyway. Do we want to cycle more cards? I will cycle once. From the next turn onwards, I won't. I just want to make sure that we are like 6 out of 5, or at least we have duplicates, so when we remove stuff from the graveyard, you know, we get stuff. Oh, and also it triggers a lot of Hullbreaker. We don't have instant, so we go straight to chapter 3. We don't need to mill anything. And now we can... Do we have another Hullbreaker? Yes, we do. Seems pretty good. Oh, can I? Oh my god, it worked! Even though it has no flash, you can do it. Oh my god, that's so good. I didn't know about this one. Okay, so what is the biggest brick right here? Probably Kami, right? It will grow quite a lot. And the Visitor. You probably want to get rid of one of them. This likes dying, so let's make sure that he cannot use it too well. A 1 mana Hullbreaker seems pretty fine. He has 5, 6, 7, 8 power. If he blocks with everything, he can survive. We might die if we attack. But we also ramp up the pressure much more. He will play this, he will put 1 counter and then the top deck. I will attack. He gets the chance to trade everything for this Hullbreaker. But given we have the another one, I think it's okay. Especially that we have the Terror he doesn't know about, so next turn we can double spell. And I want to make sure that, you know, like, his cards are really cheap. For example, Companions draw cards when he replays them, so then he might draw Removal. Yeah, I much rather get rid of one of them than bounce all of them. I guess he gets the Kami, but Kami is actually much better bounce target than the Spirited Companion is. Okay, and it's not a spirit, so he doesn't benefit in any way from casting those. And we can definitely outvalue, so we decline both. We don't want to deck out. And I think we're in a good position to win this game. We just need to make sure that we do it on time. We might as well cast the Underdog, right? And start bouncing a lot of stuff. So first we start with probably the Lifelinkers. I guess this will pump his Kami, so let's go for the bigger Lateralis and Kami. Okay, and now the first chapter is getting planes. That's not really great for the restoration. So let's go like this. And then we go for Kami, because something will die. That's the same, right? It's the same. Let's go for the Visitor. So he cannot... Like, he needs to replay it if he wants to use it in any way. Man, I think we have quite a lot of power on the board. Seems pretty fine. We are actually threatening Litter. right? No, we missed 3. We missed 3. But next turn it's definitely so hard for him to survive. So even though it comes back into the hand, look at his hand. He's basically having everything in his hand, and he actually wasted the only thing that benefits from being played. So the dog. So a lot of cards, but like he doesn't have good plays, and we even get to draw a card, which is actually really good. This is a really good card. You want instant? This basically kills 3 creatures on the block phase. I think we're doing it, guys. I think we're beating tier 1 deck with our Dimir Graveyard Surf Mill pile. That's a good sign. That's always a good sign. Okay, so he will play a lot of stuff basically, and then we will kill one of the stuff and bounce the rest of the stuff, and that's usually enough to kill the stuff. We also have Takenuma, so we can get like 1 mana Tolarian Terror, but it costs nearly the same as Underdog and you draw a card with it, so you know, it doesn't have haste, so in a way Underdog is more efficient. That's a Plains. Enjoy. And now it is a force block. Okay, deny. Or decline, should I say. Oh boy, that's a good draw. Kinda. If we play this, like this is enough to win the game, right? No, it won't make a difference. So we can always play either this or the Tenacious Underdog. Yeah, we won't be able to play everything, but you know what? It's still okay. So, we destroy this dude. We bounce those dudes. They really like getting bounced, so let's just make sure we don't bounce the second one. And then we attack for 19 and he has 17. We would also go for the Underdog and bounce the rest. We actually did it. We won tier 1 deck with this one. Okay, so we are going first and we definitely found our first path. So the draw is weird, but we can make it work. I think with Tainted Indulgence we should hit enough targets for the founding. But we definitely need a lot of cards in the graveyard to keep casting cheap spells for free. Or at least for 2 mana. So our opponent, Kafka. I remember Kafka was like Final Fantasy IV or someone villain. I really enjoyed like watching those old videos of like, you know, gameplay for the bosses of like old games like Final Fantasy and so on. They were really cool. They were actually sometimes cooler than the new ones. Let's go for the founding. And that's definitely something you didn't know you will know about after today's video. Alright, let's cast the Tainted Indulgence. Double Spell Pierce. And we are against Mono Black, so they will play Tenacious Underdog and then Trespasser or Liliana. I think it's a Spell Pierce. I hate showing our opponent that we play Spell Pierce, because this might change his decision whether to play Liliana or Trespasser. I know because I sometimes played around Negate and I played the same thing. Oh, so it's okay. It's Dimir. Nice to see you, Dimir. And we are definitely targeting ourselves. We are playing in a way the same deck. Kinda. We don't have target for the founding. That's unfortunate. But you know what? We will have targets later. And we still have Spell Pierce and March, but we don't really want to kill this. So, even when this dies, mill 2 cards. Okay, and draws a card. So we definitely want to take hits as long as possible without giving him the card and the mill. The whole deck that he's playing is built around Tainted Indulgence, Heartstabber, or maybe like some reanimation, weird stuff. Like we are, basically. It's nearly our deck. Okay, Spell Pierce ready. Tolarian Terror as well. Alright, so what do we cast? I think Tainted Indulgence is really good here. It's also the only card we can play, and it doesn't remove the 4 out of 5 because we have 2 of them. So, let's play. You need to remember that you need to cast it like at the upkeep in a way. I think we don't need so many lands. Like 5 is good enough for now. We definitely get through that a little bit. We need spells. not really this. So, Tolarian Terror, not yet your time. You need to wait, my friend. You need to wait just a little bit. More birds. Like, I think what we do is just play really slow, as we always do. We are a sloth, right? And then go for insanely high march, so the second bird doesn't hurt and we don't need to kill it for like next 50 turns. Like, milling is interesting. But we can... Oh man, we can just play the Tolarian Terror. This is good enough. Yeah, this is perfect, because we have Spell Pierce. And this means that after he pays Ward, he will never be able to pay the Spell Pierce cost. So this is basically a 1 mana hard counter spell. Okay, that's sus. He definitely wants to block with the Heartstabber, right? And we will have to go with it. Like, we can slow him down, but not as much. Okay, you got your Underdog. Infernal Grasp is pretty interesting. He cannot trade into the Terror, so he will just block here. So first things first, let's attack. Unfortunately, we will be forced to kill both of the birds, because now he won't attack with the second one, just to keep it for blocks. So, you know, we cannot play around it. And our opponent is definitely waiting until we tap out to play something. Let's go for the Founding. I really don't think we need so much black mana. Let's found the third path. Again. We will do it 3 times, so Destiny? Maybe. And I will actually use the Infernal Grasp. If he wants to go with the Tenacious Underdog, I'm actually really fine with it. Because this means he has no tempo in the game at all. We might even kill his bird just to speed up the clock. Just a little bit. And we still have Spell Pierce. This has always ward. Man, this is the same ward as Sphinx has. You just have it on 1 mana 5/5 instead of 5 mana 5/5. That's pretty good. Yeah, I will do it. Even if our opponent has like Exile effect or something, it's not really great. So for now we don't counter. We need something that is game changing to counter. We only have 1 counter spell, we need to make it count, and we are down to 3 cards. So definitely this is our big defense against whatever is coming. We will mill some cards and get another spell in 2 turns, so that's something. And we probably get either Graveyard Shift if we mill the Hullbreaker, or just go Infernal Grasp most likely. And our opponent is definitely tanking. He didn't activate the 5 out of 5, so he needs to discard something. He had the Trespasser. So it's like mono black with... Oh, I didn't see Liliana is also there, and he has Spell Pierce as well. I'm surprised. What are we playing against exactly? Like, it definitely feels a little bit like our deck in like weird twist. Huh, I wonder what do they play. Okay, that's definitely a thing. Let's make a stop just in case. I'm not sure if we will use it. I don't want to really tap out, and I'm not guaranteed to draw a land, so I think we just take 3 to damage. Okay, we got it. But we were not guaranteed to get it. Okay, let's go into the main phase. We definitely want to mill some cards. That's a Hullbreaker for you. Nice. And next turn we will be able to cast Graveyard Shift. We have it as an instant, so that's a big deal. So we need to make sure that this turn is as big as we can make it. Okay, let's go for... Oh man, we cannot go. We need to play this just to kill Shrouded. Like, we can kill it, but then we don't have a Spell Pierce. Okay, emergency mode. Smirk. I think I know how he blocks, so that's why we play like this. Smart. Okay, clap clap. He got us in a way. Okay, if we are to do something, we do it. No, we cannot do it. Because we need to play a land to do it. So he gets some life. Alright, so if we kill Shrouded, we don't have Spell Pierce anymore and bad things can happen. What is the worst? he might have the domain, but it's just -3, so Tolarian Terror will be really hard to kill. I hate this play. Like, we don't have a single mana, but it is still correct play, I think. I would exile black card if I had it, but I do not. Yep, full tap. Enjoy the show. Bad things will happen to us this turn. I don't think we need the upkeep. The good part is that we will get Hullbreaker Horror. I hope we draw untapped land, so then we will have Hullbreaker and Spell Pierce, and that should be enough to win the game. If we hit the land, and if our opponent will let us do the bad things. Yep, bad things will happen, but to be honest, is it the worst that could happen? I actually don't mind it as well. What happened? Oh, right. I might have forgotten. It's fine. It's fine. Do we go for this one? Yeah, I think we definitely do. This is a really good turn to do it. And we read ahead indeed. I do it because I want to 5 mana to cast my spell. So I don't have it this turn. But I will have it next turn. Let's attack first. Ward. Easy. And the Spell Pierce is the last card, the Saving Grace. He might cast land and invoke the spell, so that's a big deal. But it's a tap land, so right now Spell Pierce will invoke the spell. And it will also hit the Cruelty of Geeks. No cruelty for you, man, Spell Pierce. The card. The absolute card. So, yeah, we got the Hullbreaker, right? It's a big problem for them. Let's cast it. Easy. And that's a Hullbreaker. Yeah. Alright, so we are going first. Ha! We are going second, but with the Founding. Man, this card is actually so dope in this deck. I don't like it generally because it's really like not flexible, but in this particular deck is so great. Like, it does it all basically. And we are against the favorite deck of the meta, the deck everyone loves. And I'm not sure how we play against it. We can go for the Underdog. It definitely will slow our Founding day, idea, especially that next time we want to play the Tampering. Oh boy, how much we play around Sleeper. I honestly have no idea what is the correct play. I will go for the fun one, because I think you have seen enough underdogs in your life. So let's just go with this one. We will Pilfer. Interruption, more important than card draw right now, because we have plays for the next turn, we don't care. And let's just make sure that he will have to use the Sleeper. Like, he has very bad things that he can do to us. Like Liliana. I guess, like, I'm on the fence with Liliana. Maybe that wasn't the most scary card, but it... Are you free? The story of me playing to Mythic, that's basically what was going over and over. The last top deck opponent had was exactly the card I didn't want him to have. Oh boy. Like, Liliana is not the worst, to be honest. He didn't even want to pass her because he wants both lands and this. We are definitely the milling player. Okay, and we got, what? The Graveyard Shift is already at 4 out of 5. That's pretty good. Next turn we can haste the Underdog. This is definitely not something he expects. Like, we're a Dimir deck, but we can play exactly as oppressively as he does. I think we should go for this. Like this, we won't get turn like this ever again to play it, and we got the hit that we wanted. This is exactly the target for this card. That's why we have Hullbreakers in the deck. Like, he thinks all of this matters, and props to him. +1, bro. Land. He will get land, told you. Oh, wow, that's a hit. But it's still a good hit. Like, against control you don't care about your life total as much. We always mill. That's basically what we do. Unfortunately, he definitely sees our plan right now. We don't have enough mana for Graveyard Shift. Don't forget, with Chapter 3 you actually need to pay this price. I kinda want to draw. I like drawing cards. okay? That's my dark side. I like drawing cards a lot. More than I should probably. Especially that the follow-up is drawing more cards. And our opponent has double Invoke Despair, so it's not like we will get rid of this threat this turn. Like, it will happen. Whether we like it or not. Yeah, let's go on chapter 1. Next turn we play the 5th land, and then the last, when we have 5 at the upkeep, you need to think in advance. You cannot play land before this triggers, so you need 5 mana before it. Pilfer is still important, but I like drawing my cards, okay? And we drew pretty bad cards, to be honest. We definitely need more instants. We need stuff like Spell Pierce. Like, we need instants, basically. After he plays Invoke, I will probably use Pilfer, play land, and go... Well, I won't be able to play Underdog. Okay, next turn he will definitely draw a land. Like, he has way too much card draw to whiff on the land. So sure, that shouldn't be the issue next turn. We definitely mill as much as we can. Okay, 1 mana Tolarian Terror. Now we are talking. That's the stuff that we really like. And next turn we activate the Tampering. Alright, like, we need to think. This game is definitely winnable right now. But we need to make it right. So for example, we could play 3 creatures at the same turn. And that would really force him to answer in some way. And then we go with Hullbreaker. It's really good setup for the Hullbreaker as well. We're at 16. Oh, we don't activate it yet. Unless we play the Pilfer. Because we need 1 more. This activates at 20 exactly. And he isn't guaranteed to kill anything out of our side. So I honestly think the best play is this. We also get to see him. I never drew like this. I never, in my 150 games of Mono Black, maybe it happened, okay? Never drew for Invoke Despairs at all. If he whiffs on the land, like he has 2 draws. There is a chance he whiffs. You know what? Sure, let's do it. We definitely don't grind him out of Invoke Despairs, right? That's not going to happen. And we have enchantment to sacrifice. I guess then we don't get... Like, yeah, we either get the Founding with Graveyard Shift, or we get the Tampering. He got the land. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for a lot of pain. This will keep happening until the end of the game. Okay, this one is free Hullbreaker, that one we need to pay, so obviously, like, the choice is pretty easy. And we get to play double Underdog. Yeah, oh, I kinda forgot about this one, that's true. That's kinda true, okay? And we definitely mill. Give me my Hullbreaker. Now I want Spell Pierce from the top, please. That's not an instant. I'll tell you that. This was definitely not an instant. I guess we go for a lot of small dudes. He cannot kill our creature, especially after we kill the Soaring. And this shapes to be a really interesting game with some decisions that we can make. I really want to blitz, but I lack 1 mana to do everything. 1 creature, is this enough to prevent... So we attack Soaring, so he cannot ultimate. Then he plays this. He needs exactly cut down. Or we can just... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, okay? Let's... Yeah, we cannot go more than... Yeah, I'm losing train of thought, sorry. I just want to make sure that we don't mess it up, because I think that we are in a very winning spot if we don't mess it up. We could also go full face. Yeah, full face is the place. Alright, and this will be Concealing Curtains. This is harder to kill. And I guess Liliana. because in 2 turns she can force the sacrifice effect and I don't really want it. Spell Pierce. No. No, we won't. Okay, so invoke this. He needs exactly cut down to win this game. Please. No cut down. Sure? You got it. Oh wow, we are at 4. That's pretty hilarious. I didn't even realize it. Tenacious Underdog and invoke the spells on both sides. It's definitely not a good combo. Okay. Like, he has the trigger, but this is because of the sleeper. He isn't guaranteed to have anything. Oh my god. That's some serious exile. Oh, I have never seen this kind of play. It's probably pretty good, right? Oh boy, I did not expect a one. That was such a good answer. He actually had an answer in those 2 cards. You hate to see it. And we cannot play underdogs anymore. So, I guess I'll die. Let's give him good game. He played it really well. And I think we're this close to winning this game. Like, we definitely... Oh man, like, only one of those 2 cards was saving him, basically. Opponent goes first. What a surprise. However, we have pretty good removal, so we are kinda okay with it. Like, to be fair, with so much removal, we are actually more or less fine with being on the draw, especially Infernal Grasp because it's not mana dependent. So his 3-drop is basically the same as our 2-drop, whatever he plays. So as long as you play against aggressive stuff, it's fine. And we don't want to exile cards, like we want to maximize all the value. Give me all the value. And so far so good. Like, I think that a game didn't really start, but I think we are in the advantage already. Just because what we have in the hand and what type of deck he's playing. And he's really incentivized to play a creature. Okay, that's a counter. Is this with the kicker already? Yep, that's the kicker. So this packs more damage, right? So let's see the attack. It also has haste, so no point in removing the 3/3. This is just better. So, you know, the standard removal 3-bar, basically. Let's see. I hope he whiffs at some point, because we need time to reload. We can discard Hullbreaker. I consider it a whiff. If that's your main play, I'm completely fine with it, and then we kill the Beast Color. Smork? Nope. No Smork. When the battle between the control and aggro, the never-ending foes. Oh, you love to see it, and this draw is also really good. Let's see the huge creature that you prepared for us. The boss battle. That's what basically Kumano does, right? It's a boss battle. Okay, that was good. That was a good one. The boss Phoenix chick. Man, it's so cute. Oh, that's the boss. Okay, I like this play. We make a stop. I like this play, but unfortunately for our smart opponent, this is exactly the wrong play. But he couldn't know it, because he doesn't know exactly our hand, and March is not something everyone plays. So yeah, it would be perfect for him if Raiju was bigger, but alas, it was not. Man, this is so risky, playing Tainted Indulgence, because we definitely need to remove something this turn. I think I miss a land drop just to not tap out the black mana, especially that even if we draw something, like, we don't have a lot of mana, and healing is also important. Man, it's such a cute card. I cannot believe how cute it is. Yeah, it's in... Like, this is the first red card I actually enjoy dying to. Man, it's so lame. The question is, do we go for 3 or 5? I'm not sure how much time we have. I'm greedy. Man, I'm such a greedy person, it's horrible. I feel bad about being so greedy. He might still play something. like Raiju, because he has exactly 4 mana. And that seemed like a very deliberate tap, but I hope it doesn't. Yeah, that's really good. That's very good draw. You know what? So he has something, but still we can do it main phase. We have enough. Thank you, game. Thank you, game. Great. I guess we don't use it. And I don't think we can activate Tainted Indulgence in time. Man, what a word. Unfortunately, we have to allow it. I don't really like allowing it. And that was the card that he drew, by the way. So he still has something very conditional in the hand. So we'll allow this hit, and we draw some cards. Hopefully not 2 lands. Okay, very good. Alright, very, very nice. Man, we are 2 turns out of Hullbreaker Horror. I don't think Make Disappear is relevant anymore. I don't think it is. What do we have in the graveyard? We have quite good removal. Copy it. You may cast the copy. So I think we still get the benefit from the march? I'm not really sure. I'm honestly not sure. But I think we cannot take so much damage. So let's try it and see how it goes. Let's go chapter 3. Let's get the march and learn something new about Magic the Gathering. Because we may play it, so I think we get the phase for choosing the cost and all of this stuff. I don't think we want to submit. This one has more power, right? It's basically a 4 or 3/3. So it's more than the chicks. Okay, so we basically got a free card draw this turn. However, he gets the draw over us. And that's a Raiju. Is that what he's been hoarding for? It is very possible. Oh man, that's not a good draw. Because we die. That always seems to be a bad case when you die. I will go for the good game. Oh, I didn't enjoy this one though. But I like the chicks. I'm fine with dying to them.